All right. I don't got much to say about this other than I feel like it's one of those collaborations that we've seen before where it just seems like they get it right with Nike and then they go to Adidas and their creative powers are just very limited and they just don't have a lot to work with and just falls apart on them. Because I've seen this, like looking at what we've seen, I don't know what the clothing line is going to look like too much, but at least when it comes to the shoes, it just kind of seems like one of like the generic knockoff, not knockoff, but the generic, more like casual, lower price basketball shoes that Adidas sells.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up because you know they signed Jerry Lorenzo. Adidas signs Jerry Lorenzo 2 years ago. Nothing in the last 2 years, and recently over the last couple months, they've been dropping releases. David Beckham just got sent two pairs. He posted on IG two of the Fear of God Adidas shoes. I don't know if he was supposed to leak them out, but he did. They're out there. Um, and I just wanted to bring this up because this releases should be coming up in the second half of this year. Sorry, I'm really tired. I don't know why I can't talk right now, but 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 man, Kate, this shoe, these are so underwhelming to me. I mean, Adidas, if you they want to make a statement, Kate, what are the hottest Adidas shoes out right now?
Um,
The
I think
Sambas,
maybe
right?
the Sambas. Okay, yeah, yeah, Sambas.
The Samba. How come they not giving Jerry Lorenzo the Sambas? Why are they giving him like a new silhouette that looks kind of like a knockoff Fear of God 1 that Nike released what in 2016, 2017 now from years ago, who kind of changed the game, put Jerry really on the map. Fear of God Essentials, those I was really popping. Essentials still kind of popping. You don't really see too much Nike Fear of Gods anymore, and for Adidas to steal him from Nike, and for 2 years, almost 3 years now, I think it's been, yeah, it might have been 3 years now. We don't hear anything, and then this is what they release. Kind of just these boring, like you said, knockoffs, underwhelming. They kind of, I don't know if you saw the basketball Fear of God shoes that are releasing, but they kind of just look like James Harden shoes. Nothing too special about them, and it's like, come on, Adidas, I'm waiting for them to do something.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and this is something that I feel like you've seen out of Adidas so consistently. They've never put anything that creative, that unique, that different out there. Going back to your take about the Sambas, I mean, even with Nike, the closest thing, I mean, he had the Skylons or whatever they're called, the Fear of God Skylons, which looked like kind of similar to an Air Max, but he always had his own silhouettes, and I think that's what he was trying to do here with Adidas. But like what he's trying to do is he's trying to use Adidas' materials to create something that looks similar enough to what he was able to produce with Nike, and they just cannot get the nail on the head with this one. It just does not look great. Honestly, I even think if you go to a place like New Balance, it'd probably look better. I think this just solidifies the fact that we've talked about at the beginning of the year. At least one of my takes that I think New Balance is going to jump Adidas when it comes to the sneaker game. I think it's clear as day that they already have, especially with Kanye leaving Adidas after the whole shit he went through. Um, the Yeezy not carrying the same level of respect it has anymore because it's not a Yeezy anymore. It just does. I mean, Adidas has fallen off completely when it comes to shoes, and they're trying their hardest to keep it up there, but it's just it does not look good anymore. They don't keep them well. They're having to rely on their older silhouettes, which I think is like one thing that they should be working on. I mean, one of the things that Nike did when Dunk started getting into it, and I mean, we both thought it was super annoying. I think how when Nike recognized that the mass populations were starting to get into dunks, and they just started producing every single possible pair of dunks they could possibly think of just to get people because they know people would buy it. Adidas is the guy to think about doing the same thing with some of their classic silhouettes because that's the only way they're going to stay afloat in the sneaker world. The Sambas are a big pair of shoes right now. Why are you trying to reach out to any big, well-known collab or people to collaborate with the Sambas? It's the people that, and that's another thing too with the collaborations that Adidas does. They're very just kind of odd and unique. I mean, there's not really a collaboration that I've seen that I'm like, dang, they hit like they that's a good collaboration. Nike, on the other hand, they do a lot of collaborations, but it's and a lot of them are hit or miss. Let's be honest here. They have their really good ones with Travis Scott. Obviously, Union's had a lot of really good ones. There's some other people. AMA has had a lot of really good ones. But what Adidas has been doing so consistently is they're relying on the collaborations with influencers, of people of status, not these true designer boutiques. These these design studios, almost like Nike has done with Union and AMA. Like that, I think that works out so well. Some of the best collaborations Nike has are with these other designers, and I mean, you of course are doing that with Jared Lorenzo, but it's they got to keep, I think, working with that because with Jared Lorenzo, with Fear of God, he's going to want to bring his own silhouette and his own look into the game of Adidas. But if you go to these other boutiques and say, "Hey, I want you to work on a Samba and make it your way," you're going to, I think, going to open up a really interesting, unique, creative aspect to that hasn't been seen before. And I don't know why Adidas isn't looking into that aspect. Obviously, I know just they want to be different than Nike, but Nike's making it work so well. So why is Adidas trying to reinvent the wheel?
No, 100%. Even talking, kind of going back to those collabs that you were talking about, you know, just thinking back on some of the Adidas top collabs that, brought some hype. Obviously, it was Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, huge in the fashion game. Not too hot anymore though. And then what, the Gucci collab was big.
Bad
They
Bunny.
had a Bape collab, Bad Bunny collab, but it's like you said, they're not collabing with too many like streetwear boutiques or like streetwear influencers. How come we're not seeing like another ASAP Rocky collab? I'm pretty sure they did a collab with him back in the day. How come we're not seeing more of that? More of like more guys that can put Adidas back on the in the sneaker game map, like Kanye. Maybe not like Kanye. I'm trying to think of a creative artist that would move a lot of shoes. Maybe ASAP Rocky does something like that, but I believe he signs at Under Armour actually.
Yeah,
Maybe they
that's
steal him
weird.
from under. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just I really thought I had high hopes for Adidas to sign. To get Jerry Lorenzo, to steal him from Nike, and to give him complete creative control, which Adidas rarely does. Um, this has just been very underwhelming, and like you said, this might be toast for three stripes.
I think it's the end of an era. I think, as you were talking about, as they brought in Kanye and Pharrell, that was at a time where bringing in like big time artists and rappers was kind of the thing. I mean, it's been a few years since Travis Scott was brought in as a collaboration with Nike, and again, that was at a time before they really started hitting these smaller boutiques and whatnot, and these smaller designers and smaller boutiques. I think Adidas needs to look in that direction if they do want to save themselves. If not, yeah, it's the end of three stripes. I think New Balance is that next big one. They're going to be taken over. They've got the celebrities that are necessary for that right now. I mean, just the fact that it went out of their way to do a Rich Paul collaboration on the 550s, that's a unique uh, collaboration. Like Adidas isn't doing anything unique. They're just doing what they think fits whatever their mold might be, which they don't even know if that's necessarily their mold. It's a weird collab. They've just had some weird ones out there. I just don't, and even then, the weird ones they've had, they just haven't looked good. I mean, the best like name that I think would have worked out would have been like Sean Witherspoon. But even then, the collaborations he's had with Adidas haven't looked good at all. They've looked actually
And I
kind of
believe that
boring.
yeah, no, he had some underwhelming collabs, but I believe he signed with New Balance too. So like even New
Ooh,
Balance is taking advantage of that.
exactly. I mean, why not? I think New Balance is going to be that next big one. As I said at the beginning of the year, I think they're proving it. I think New Balance is also just such like it's weird because you look at the collaborations New Balance has. They're such simple collaboration. I mean, they don't have a silhouette that really stands out the way that Nike does, where they are just so many different unique silhouettes. Like, I mean, they all feel like kind of similar and unique in a way. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between a 990 V2 and or like a 990, what was it? Yeah, or a 990 V3 and a 2002 R. Like they're such similar shoes, but it's the fact that or not Adidas, New Balance is able to make such unique, different things out of that and make these weird collaborations that make it look good. Like the protection pack for Adidas, or not Adidas. Oh my God, for New Balance. I mean, that's a collabor. It's not a collaboration, I don't think, but it's like I think it might be. I don't know. End of the day, that's a drop that really took off for New Balance. And you're talking about incorporating so many of their different silhouettes into that for such a simple but unique look that looks so good. Um, but
And
Adidas doesn't do that. Adidas, they go with the collaboration, but the only difference they really do is they don't give them the creative outlet to make it something unique or something different. They just add some. They may add something a little bit. They might change the color, but that's really all they do. It's nothing fun.
Exactly. And New Balance, maybe uh Adidas can take a page out of their book and, like you said, start signing some of these boutiques that, have creative control with New Balance. Just a couple of the last couple of years, Joe Fresh had one, Teddy Santis, Benbury, with collabs with, fashion and New Balance collabing with like fashion boutiques, fashion personalities. Maybe Adidas, maybe they start going around to a bunch of rappers, Cade, because, um, I feel like rappers um back in the day had a lot more move on the sneaker game than they do now. Whereas like maybe Adidas gives complete creative control to like Uzi or like Lil Yachty, some of these up and coming rappers who I don't believe some of these guys have shoes. Whereas back in the day, it was like, rappers got their sneaker collabs and like, you know, I mean, Adidas has been there with Run DMC. Back in the day, Run DMC was putting Adidas on the map. How come they're not trying this with Uzi or I'm trying to. I don't know. What are some other rappers that don't got signature shoes like Kid Cudi?
Yeah, so I mean, even just going back to some of those like more classic rappers, I think the one thing I'll say about Adidas, and I think this is what's going to end up happening, is that they've got to look into trying to find people that really amplify Adidas. Like I feel like, I mean, going back to Complex, or not going back to Complex, but like going to Complex and their um God, what's it called? Like, the series where they take people out to like sneaker shopping. That's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Is that it always just seems like each person has had a deeper connection with Nike or one of the other brands. I think I've only seen Nike and New Balance as those deeper connections. I think Adidas also needs to emphasize the people who actually rock and wear Adidas on a consistent basis and just celebrate them, because those are the people that are going to be able to really treat a silhouette right, but also make a creative and unique look to it to make it look so much better and so much different, so much more alive, that is necessary for Adidas to keep living the way it needs to.